Do you know someone who is or has been participating in drug use? Well, if you don't, I want you to realize that effects that it has on your body and your future and people around you. Choosing to stay away from drugs allows you to live a happy, successful, and healthy life. To get started, I want to tell you what drug addiction is and ways to avoid it. Drug addiction is when a person takes a drug and then craves to take it again and again and again. And the problem with this is each time they do this drug again, they take a little bit more each dose. The reason for this is because the first time that they took this drug, they got extremely high, and then the next time they don't feel as high by the same amount of dosage that they did the first time. So they then begin to up their dosage, and it becomes more dangerous because they don't realize how much they take, and they could go into overdose. There are many different ways to take drugs, and here are some examples. You have needles, snorting, pills, and drinking. And the most dangerous, in my opinion, is by injecting it, and that is because it goes straight to your bloodstream, which can be extremely dangerous. Taking drugs in general is dangerous, but by injecting it into your bloodstream is just a higher risk. Some causes and effects of drug addiction is it can be genetic. Your parents might have done drugs before and you just grown up with it, so it's just carried on to you and you just continue to go on with it. There are also ways such as like environmental, looking at television or people around you, friends that you hang out with. They may tell you it's cool, or maybe in a movie you've seen all these kids hanging out doing drugs and you're like, oh, that looks so much fun. And so you get curious, and curiosity kills a cat. And once you begin doing this drug, you may think, oh, I'm not ever going to do it again, but you're wrong, because drugs such as crack or cocaine or heroin, those can get you addicted from one dosage of it. And I don't know, maybe you might be like, oh, no, I'm good, I didn't like it, so you're not going to do it again. But then you never know, you might like the drug and then you want to do it again and again and again and again. And once you got to that point, it's done for. It's really hard to get off from, and it's really hard to recover. Some effects of doing drugs are you can have scabbing of the face, yellowing of the teeth, dilated pupils. You can have a heart attack, such as this picture here shows effects on the body. And some of those effects are also, you can grind your teeth, you can have chest pain, you can get vessel damage in the brain, which causes brain damage, which could also lead to death, and other things such as sweating and numbness of the skin. I have some images here of some people who have been involved with drugs, and on this side you can see that the eyes are darker, and she has scabbing on the face, and her hair is more nappier and gross. Also have this picture of a male from 2000 on this side, and then 2007 on this side. You can just see the dramatic change of 7 years just because of drugs. Do you want to look like that? Well, I know I don't. And ways to really avoid doing these drugs are by looking at stories of people who have done drugs before and experienced the effects of drugs. There are also other effects such as suicide or loss of family, and I have a really good example of loss of family. I have a relative who promised me that they wouldn't do cocaine ever again, and they decided to do it right in front of me, and I haven't talked to this person for at least 5 years, and it's been really hard on me, And I'm sure it's been hard on this person too, but I don't think they really realize it because the drugs got into their head and they took over their mind. Also, drugs can cause accidents, such as this one here. This is a car accident caused by a person who was under the influence of drugs, and it killed 3 people, 2 parents and 1 child. The child was only 5 years old. And guess what? The person who was on the drugs survived and now is in prison. Would you want to live your life in prison and think about those 3 people that you killed, those 3 innocent people? Well, I know I wouldn't. Again, stay away from drugs. I really hope that I persuaded you into avoiding drug use and choosing to avoid drugs and living a happy, successful, and full life. Thank you for listening to my speech.